All praise is due to Allah, and that is sufficient, and peace be upon His chosen servants. To proceed, by the grace of Allah, we are still continuing our blessed and virtuous series, which is titled The Tolerance of Islam. And by the grace of Allah, we are still speaking about that tolerance which Muslims, by Allah's favor, have shown towards the people of the book, and other 7 towards the polytheists, even towards idol worshippers, in other words, towards the people of disbelief wherever Muslims have reached. I would present to you examples of such tolerance that words themselves fall short of expressing their true meaning, and pens are unable to capture a description of it. Come with me, by Allah's will, to look at this kind of tolerance. The scholars say that among the aspects of tolerance is considering benefit and proper intention, considering benefit and correct intention in dealing with the people of the book. What does that mean, everyone? It means that part of tolerance is to take into account benefit and correct intention. This becomes clear to us in the context of this noble and honorable stance of Umar ibn Al-Khattab. May Allah be pleased with him, with the people of the book. There is also a narration from Abdullah ibn Qais. What does he say, everyone? He says, I was among those who received Umar ibn Al-Khattab. May Allah be pleased with him, along with Abu Ubaidah, as they were leading their group to Syria, coming to the Levant. So while Umar was traveling, when Umar entered the lands of the Levant, and Abu Ubaidah, may Allah be pleased with them all, was with him, they were walking along the road, entering the region of the Levant. During the conquest of the Levant, in Al-Jabiyah and elsewhere, the important thing, look at what happened. As Umar was walking, he encountered the Mukallisun. Pay close attention. They are a people who play a game in front of the rulers, performing with swords and basil when the rulers arrive. That is, during their festivals and on major occasions, times of happiness and joy brought about by peace and safety, as a result of being far from war, as a result of great celebrations among these people. These people would come and perform with swords and basil in front of the dignitaries and great figures who visited them. When Umar saw this, he wanted to put a stop to it. Then he said, send them back and stop them, send them back and stop them. Of course, when these people do this, it is a tradition for them. It's one of their customs, a joyful way to welcome others. If you try to prevent them from such things, it creates a sign. They'll say, so he's not. He doesn't want to uphold the covenant he gave us. He doesn't want to maintain safety and security. It means that since he rejected our celebration, he must not be pleased with this matter. This could mean he might betray us, or abandon this covenant, or forsake this security in the future. That's why Abu Ubaidah, because he entered the Levant and knew the conditions of its people and understood such matters, he immediately turned to the commander of the faithful and said to him, O commander of the faithful, this is a remarkable custom. This is a remarkable custom, or something of that sort. And he said, if you prevent them from it, they will harbor within themselves, meaning they will consider it a breach of their covenant. They will think that Umar ibn Al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, is not satisfied and does not accept that he will break their covenant, and they will harbor ill thoughts and keep this feeling inside themselves. Look at Umar's response, may Allah be pleased with him. Right away when Abu Ubaidah said that to him, meaning, let them be, let them play, let them rejoice. He said, let them be, for Umar and the family of Umar are obedient to Abu Ubaidah. Why is he obedient to Abu Ubaidah? Because Abu Ubaidah commanded obedience. He commanded obedience. He advised obedience. Despite, of course, the status and virtue of Umar, may Allah be pleased with him. So here, why did Umar ibn Al-Khattab let them continue with one of their traditions, playing with swords and basil and celebrating in front of the one who arrived like this? Because with all due respect, this falls under the category of public interest. It falls under the category of genuine benefit. If they were prevented, it would lead to harm. But if they were allowed, it would bring about great benefits for Islam and the Muslims. So the tolerance of the commander of the faithful, may Allah be pleased with him and grant him peace, was clearly shown toward these people. And that's not all. For Umar ibn Al-Khattab, when he sent Amr ibn al-As and Egypt was conquered, just look at the tolerance, justice and mercy. Just mention the highest qualities in these situations. There was a Coptic Egyptian woman named Fartuna the Black. Fartuna the Black was, as people often said, a very poor, destitute woman. She had a humble, simple house, just a rather small place with a low wall, and she used to raise chickens, hens, and other such animals. Thieves would climb over the low wall, steal her ducks and chickens, and leave. So she sent a message to Umar. Pay attention, just look at this situation. Imagine nowadays, in any country, if a very poor woman living in a tiny room with a little wall has her ducks and chickens stolen, and she sends a message to the king or the prince or the president, or whoever is in charge, saying, send me such and such because thieves are stealing my eggs. I want to raise my fence. Maybe she would be the one to raise it between heaven and earth if she sent it to someone, whether in the east or the west. I'm not saying anyone in particular should comment. But let's take a look at this. When Umar ibn Al-Khattab, may God be pleased with him, received this letter from Fartuna, the Black from Egypt, it reached Medina. She wrote to Umar ibn Al-Khattab saying, I have such and such a problem with my horse, and you are responsible because you are the one in charge of our safety and security, and so on with these matters. So Umar ibn Al-Khattab sent a letter to Amr ibn al-As saying, as for what follows, when my letter reaches you, send the builders to construct and raise a sturdy, protective wall for Fartuna the Black so that thieves cannot steal the eggs from her chickens. Just imagine my letter, truly think about what it actually means for an official office to send you such a message. Really, just pause and consider it for a moment and let the significance of such a request sink in for a while. Take a moment to truly reflect on it. Send the builders immediately to raise that wall for Hera, strong, tall wall, and make it thick and sturdy so that no thief can come and steal the eggs or harm this woman. To me, she's poor and helpless, and she owns nothing but these few things. For God's sake, when we talk about justice, just consider this. Think about how you would place it, how you would measure it. I mean, put it in the highest forms of justice. When I talk to you about forgiveness and tolerance, put it in the highest forms of humility, in the noblest examples. What more can I say to you? What more can I possibly add? Amazing. It's truly astonishing. And that's not all, everyone. When Amr ibn al-As conquered Egypt and built the Amr ibn al-As mosque, its Qibla was determined by more than 80 of the companions of our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, some of the greatest companions. They were the ones who set the direction of prayer here in Egypt, in the Amr ibn al-As mosque. And this was the first mosque ever built in Africa. Look at what happened. They wanted to expand the mosque because there was going to be a corner that was crooked, or they had taken a house that belonged to a Coptic Christian woman. It was very small and they expanded the mosque with it. They told her, we'll compensate you. Please go ahead. Here's some money. And the new place is even better and bigger than the one you had. Build your house there. But she sent a message to Umar ibn Al-Khattab. She said, no, they did such and such, took my house and added it to the mosque, and this is outright injustice. People, Umar ibn Al-Khattab sent them a message. If this letter of mine reaches you immediately, look at this woman, what should you do? Demolish this part of the mosque and return it to her house. When they told her, we have a letter from Umar ibn Al-Khattab saying this, she replied, no, by God, this is the judgment of the prophets. By God, this is the true religion you follow. This is the judgment of the prophets. And it was said that she was satisfied. I accepted the compensation and the money you gave me, but I wanted to see justice among you. Of course, everyone, when I talk about justice and tolerance, I mean them in their highest sense. You will never, ever find this in any constitution, any law, or even in any of the so-called democratic countries today. Until I meet you all again in another episode, I say to everyone, peace be upon you and God's mercy and blessings.